Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, this video right here, as you guys can see by the title, been wanting to do this video pretty much since the Eddie Hearn announcement of the new, DAZN launch and the $1 billion he's going to have to spend on signing fighters and putting together fights and things like that. This video is going to be fun because I wanted to do a video, so here it is. As you guys see by the title, 13 fighters, Eddie Hearn, 13 American fighters, Eddie Hearn should sign to Matchroom USA to fight on DAZN. So let's run through it. I'm going to give you guys the names, and I'm going to give you guys my reasons as we go through the names. So we'll start from the top of my list. Mikey Garcia. This is a guy, Mikey Garcia, that many people anticipate will be in negotiations with Eddie Hearn. I believe he already is in negotiations with Eddie Hearn. As we know, he's a free agent. He's been looking for the right situation. I think for a guy like Mikey Garcia, this could be the perfect situation because, Mikey is someone that in his career, he's wanted to get paid what he feels that he's worth. Now there's a man with the $1 billion war chest to be able to overpay a guy like Mikey Garcia. So you can overpay a guy like Mikey Garcia. He can be happy with his purse, and you can box him quite often. And I think for him that's great because you want to have a guy like that boxing often. Mikey Garcia is very, very highly rated by many people in the boxing world. Some people I've even heard like today, I heard someone say earlier that they believe Mikey Garcia is pound for pound #1 in boxing. That I obviously don't even agree with, but people rate him highly. He's a talented fighter. He's one of the top talents in the sport. He's someone that he's a Mexican fighter, so there's always that element to it. He has that Mexican fan base behind him. You can build it up even more the more you keep him active. And I think that's probably the only problem for Mikey Garcia is that he hasn't been able to be active. So if Hearn can land a guy like this, I think it shows a great level of ambition to get to land a name like Mikey Garcia. So that's a guy that I think you should look for to sign, in Mikey. So that's the first fighter. The next fighter is a guy that I think he should really look into signing because I think this guy is someone that I never quite understood why promoters didn't sign him. Now, as you guys know, he's a good friend of mine on the channel. Adrian Granados. 140-pound contender, has fought at 147 a number of times. This is a guy that I think should really sign with Hearn, probably more so than most fighters, because Adrian Granados is someone that, for one, if you look at his career, he's never really been looked after as a fighter. So he's had to take a lot of tough fights. He's gotten the short end of the stick in a lot of those fights that a lot of people thought he won against top-level fighters. And I think it's time that he start getting looked after. I think it's time that Adrian Granados start being the fighter that gets looked after. I think it's time that Adrian Granados be the one that's boxing often and is in big shows. And Adrian Granados is a TV-friendly fighter. Adrian Granados is someone that I think if with the right promotional backing behind him, you could really do something with because he's like Mikey Garcia, a Mexican fighter, but in my opinion, a Mexican fighter with better personality. And it just makes for fun fights. So, yeah, Adrian Granados, I think it's just time, man. It's just time that he starts getting looked after, man, because no fighter in boxing has been getting the short end of the stick more than this guy. And I think despite the fact that he's taken so many tough fights, he's been able to at least come out of all those fights giving a rather good account of himself and even winning a couple of the big fights as well. So, Adrian Granados, another guy Eddie Hearn should sign. So, you got him. Another guy that I would like to see Eddie Hearn sign, kind of a smaller guy, but Joshua Greer, there's been a lot of talk about Joshua Greer Jr. on this channel. I just said that I believe he should enter the World Boxing Super Series. If he doesn't do that, I still think he should sign with Hearn because Joshua Greer of the American boxing prospects, this is a guy that, obviously wasn't a standout amateur, didn't win a gold medal, didn't win a bronze medal, didn't win a silver medal. I don't even believe he was an Olympian. But in the pro ranks, has gotten a wealth of experience fighting in all kinds of weight classes. I believe he's found his home at 118. And I believe just as the years go on, he's going to really round out into a pretty good fighter. So I think if you're a guy like Hearn and you're looking for a young American fighter that you could really do something with, this is your guy. Good personality, good knockout power. If you can box him often, and I'm sure you'll get good results out of the kid. But, yeah, Joshua Greer, definitely someone I'd like to see get with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom USA. Sticking with smaller guys, another guy that, his situation is kind of interesting because he's already signed to, I believe he signed to Rock Nation, but just for his sake and getting his name out there more, I would love to see this guy sign right here. And that is Tremaine, the Mighty Midget Williams. Now, Tremaine Williams, to a lot of you guys, may not be familiar. I did make a prospect review video about him. Hell of a fighter. He signed to Rock Nation, so I don't really know I don't think he can get out of his deal, but this is a fighter that I like to see sign with Eddie Hearn, just for the simple fact that he's, and this is my opinion, around that 122-pound limit, 126, 122, wherever he fights, I think it's 122. He is a standout talent. Like, you watch him fight, he can counterpunch. He's got it all. He's got it all in terms of skill set. I just think it's about getting him the right fights, getting him, keeping him active, and if there's a guy that can do that, it's definitely Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing. So Tremaine Williams, I don't think he'll be able to get out of the Rock Nation contract, but he's still someone that I think that I would like to see sign with Eddie Hearn. So I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, Tremaine Williams. So there's him. A guy that a lot of people are high on, who I know is also a free agent. He just fought this past Friday on Showbox. He headlined. He got a good win against Mason Menard. Devin Haney. I would love to see sign with Eddie Hearn because this is a guy that this is a kid with a lot of ambition. Like, he had a lot of ambition. He turned pro at 17. He did a lot of his first couple fights in Mexico before he turned 18. So he's already 19, 20 years old with already 19 fights. So he's got a lot of pro experience. He just had his first real step fight against Mason Menard. Passed it with flying colors. He's a free agent. He's listening to offers. He stated in interviews that he's got offers from the likes of Golden Boy, the likes of Top Rank, the likes of Don King. So he's someone that's highly touted. He's probably one of the creme de la creme as far as young American boxing talents. And again, much like Mikey Garcia, who was a big name, who you could do something with, even more so than Mikey. I think if you could land a kid like Devin Haney, that shows a true statement of ambition from Eddie Hearn to show the world that, hey, I'm in this to win this. I'm here to sign big name fighters. I'm here to sign people that I can do something with. And Devin Haney, he's someone who's still a kid, but he's maturing he's getting his man strength, and you'll be led to believe that with the skills he already has, how elusive he is in the ring, and him getting his man strength, that he's going to develop into a more than world-class fighter, potentially a dominant world champion. I really believe that. So Devin the Dream Haney, another kid Eddie Hearn should sign. So you got him. Another guy should be David Benavidez. David Benavidez, the youngest super middleweight champion in history. Fun fighter to watch. Extremely fun fighter to watch. Throws just crazy combinations. Is again another young fighter, another guy that people think is going to be a dominant world champion for quite a long time. And at 168, to keep him active, it'd be good, man. Because I think he's someone that should have more of a profile. And like, if Eddie Hearn had this platform on the zone where he's gonna have exclusive boxing content, aside from just having the talent in the ring, you need some personalities. You need some guys that you can really build something around. And I think he's one of those guys. So, he's one. As far as young and talented, you got Haney, who's 20. You got Tremaine Williams, who's like 23, 24. You got Benavidez, who's like 19 or 20 himself. So those are guys who many people deem as blue chip talents. Guys that are going to be dominant champions, and I think those are the kind of guys. Aside from the top level pound for pound guys or guys that are in their primes now, but aside from those types of fighters, you need to target these kinds of guys as well. And if not those kinds of guys, then you need people who are kind of like fringe contenders who have been in world champions, who maybe haven't gotten looked after as much, that you could kind of groom and look after, like the other top promoters do for their fighters. So yeah. You got that. So aside from that, Benavidez, after that, you got Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. Now, Boo Boo Andrade is 30 years old. Okay, he needs to get moving, and that's been the biggest problem with his career. It doesn't matter who they put in front of him. He's knocked them all down like bowling pins. He's looked sensational while doing it. But Demetrius Andrade has not been able to stay active, and because of that, people have forgotten about him. People, he's lost conscious. They say out of sight, out of mind. It's been that way for Demetrius Andrade. We see him more on social media and on YouTube than we do in the ring. And we want to see him in the ring because Demetrius Andrade has pound for pound talent. Demetrius Andrade was a standout amateur, and he looked like he had the makings of a surefire Hall of Famer before he entered the pro ranks, and it just hasn't gone the right way for him because of just promotional issues. So what better way to straighten that out by signing with a guy like Eddie Hearn in Matchroom Boxing, who can keep him active. He's someone that I think, Demetrius Andrade, because of his lack of fights, he needs to build a profile. He needs to do it quickly, and he needs to be boxing often. So I could see him boxing 3 to 4 times a year just because of the lack of inactivity, and then eventually you get him a world title fight. So probably more so than anybody that I have on this list, more than Granados, more than Greer, Garcia, Terrence Williams, Devin Haney, more than anybody on this list that I have. I think Demetrius Andrade should sign with Eddie Hearn because he just hasn't been able to stay active. If there's one thing that I know Eddie Hearn will be able to solve with the money and the kind of platform he has with the performance group in the zone, it's keeping this man active. So I want to see him get whatever he has left in his career. I want to see him get the most out of it because it's unfortunate that he has not been able to prove himself at the top level. So hopefully that happens for Demetrius Boo Andrade. Now we get to the nitty-gritty, okay? Another fighter that I think Eddie Hearn should sign, and y'all ain't going to like this, but Eddie Hearn should sign Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. I'm going to tell you why he should sign Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, okay? Eddie Hearn is a money man. Matchroom Boxing has the money, all right? They could cut through all the BS and make the fight straight away if they sign Deontay Wilder. You know, it's really not much more simple than that. Aside from that, too, like with Deontay Wilder, he's someone that lacks a profile here in America. He's someone that could walk the streets of New York City, LA, Miami, Chicago, name any big city you can think of in America. He could walk down those streets and a lot of people are not going to recognize him. And I think that's a crying shame because he is a hell of a fighter. He's proven that. He's proven that also, like, okay, you are the hardest one-punch knockout artist in boxing. You're undefeated. You're outspoken. You're entertaining. You should be one of the faces of boxing. And I think if there's a guy that can promote it in such a way, it's Eddie Hearn and Matchroom USA. So I'd like to see that happen. I think it would definitely speed up the process of Wilder Joshua fight. And, yeah, so get it done. And then the last 4 fighters I got in front of me, I got Erickson Lubin, Earl Spence, Jamal Charlo, and Montana Love. So we're going to go through all of them individually. Erickson Lubin, shout out to Erickson Lubin. You know, Erickson Lubin got kind of mad at me recently. He was DMing me on Instagram because he didn't like a video I posted about him. But, you know, shout out to him anyway. You know, you want to call BT a bum, it's all good. God bless you, Erickson Lubin. We're still a fan of you. We still want to see you succeed here on True School Sports. Now, Erickson Lubin is still a young fighter, very young fighter. Yeah, the Charlo fight happened, and he got stopped in, 2 minutes and 40 seconds or whatever it was. But he's still someone that I believe has a lot of upside if he applies himself in the gym and if he stays focused and not making memes about guys who knocked him out. You know, I think he could be a hell of a fighter. I really do. I think Erickson Lubin still has a talent, the talent to be a world beater. But it's really the battle is really going to be won and lost up here. So if he wants to win the battle here, he needs to win it up here first. But I think Eddie Hearn could do something. I really think he's a guy that Eddie Hearn could do something with, that he could promote because he's a talented fighter. He's an entertaining fighter. He's got punching power in both hands. He's confident. He's brash. And he's a top talent in the weight class, even though he maybe looked at as damaged goods. The fact of the matter is he's still like 22 years old, 21, whatever he is. So young fighter, I say you sign him up and get him moving. So there's him. And then you got Earl Spence Jr., okay? Earl Spence Jr., arguably the best welterweight in the world right now. A lot of people peg him as the best welterweight in the world. Another guy, you know, he's going to be fighting in Texas. Shout out to him. He's fighting in Texas at the Dallas Cowboys practice facility. I remember when I was living in Texas. I used to drive by Frisco all the time, and I used to see that little facility as they were building it. So it's cool that they're actually using that facility for boxing events now. I wish I could go to it because I remember when they were building it at first. But I think Earl Spence could even like. There's always been talk of like I don't know if you guys remember this, but I made a video a long time ago about a potential Canelo Alvarez versus Earl Spence fight at Cowboy Stadium. You know, an event like that magnitude of an event, I'm sorry, Al Heyman and PBC ain't gonna put that on. They don't have the money to put that on. Okay, with Eddie Hearn in the zone, they can do that, and they had the track record of putting on events like that in the UK. You've seen it with Joshua Klitschko in Wembley Stadium. You've seen it with Kell Brook and Earl Spence at Bramall Lane. You know, they have put on those types of events, and it's those types of spectacles that I think American boxing has kind of been missing as of late. You know, so I think Earl Spence could be one of the biggest stars in all of world boxing, and he can box a lot more often. No, that's another gripe with Earl Spence. You know, he even in the year he won the world title, he fought Kell Brook once last May or June or whenever they fought, and then that was it. You never heard or saw Spence in the ring again the whole year. And I just think, like, when you're 27, 28 years old, you're in your prime years as a fighter, you need to be boxing 3 times a year. 3 and maybe even 4 times a year, but really three minimum. You got to be boxing 3 times a year because you gotta, for one, you gotta stay active, you gotta stay sharp, and for two, you gotta continue, putting yourself out there so people can get to know who you are, and you could really build a following, because that's a problem. A lot of these Al Haymon fighters, and not even just them, but fighters in boxing in general who are only fighting once a year, they're not able to really build the following that they deserve because they're not boxing 3 times a year. They're not in the public consciousness as much. And now I think what Eddie Hearn is trying to do is he's trying to build boxing content, and he's trying to build, a platform in which it's going to be just rather than showing 2 fights and then going home and going to sleep. No. You're going to get a whole experience. You're going to have pre-fight build-up. You're going to see the whole entire card. There will be no untelevised undercard. You will see the whole undercard. You will see the co-main event, and you will see the main event. And I think that's just doing it the right way. And I think with a guy like that in his corner, Earl Spence, with the way he fights and just the body puncher that he is and just the entertainment he brings in to the ring on a fight-in and a fight-out basis, he's got superstar written all over him. So, yeah, Earl Spence is another guy. And then, obviously, Jamal Charlo, a young, prime, undefeated world champion boxer who is growing. His stock is growing with every fight and interview, I should say, as well, because he's a very outspoken guy, has a very brash personality, and he's the kind of guy that will sell tickets. And he's the kind of guy that it's easy to do something with if you're a promoter. So, with the way he fight, I mean, he's one of the few guys where I would say, as much as trash as he talks, he's more exciting in the ring than he is his trash talking. And his trash talking is exciting, but it's in the ring skills is what excites me more when I watch Jamal Charlo. I remember last year when he fought Julian Williams, when he landed that counter uppercut and stopped the dude. That showed me a lot of boxing ability, because Julian Williams is a good, solid 154-pound fighter. At that time, it was big fight. And that's a guy that I just think could do a lot in boxing, especially with the right promotion team behind him. So Jamal Charlo for sure is a guy that I like to see somewhere here. And then last but not least, Montana 2 Pretty Love. Now, if there was one guy on this list that I think could kind of encapsulate American boxing, I don't want to say encapsulate, but he's captured the attention of a lot of American boxing fans without really having a lot of fights on American television. And it's because he's done a hell of a job promoting himself on social media. Very, very entertaining guy. His little pad work routines on Instagram are hilarious. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. But aside from that, he's a good fighter, and he was a standout amateur before he was a pro. And I believe he got in trouble with the law, and then he got out of jail or something like that. And then he had 8 or 9 fights last year. Just stay busy fights to get the cobwebs off. He's had a couple this year. He's fighting DeMarcus Corley soon. So he's been active. He's been active already. For me, when it comes to him, per se, it's not his issue isn't even activity. His issue is more of, okay, I'm active, I'm a good fighter, but can my people behind me get the most out of the personality that I have and make me a star in boxing? And I think the fine folks in Matchroom Boxing can do exactly that. Montana Love, and look after him and groom him into being a potential world champion. So we'll run the list again. I got Adrian Granados, Mikey Garcia, Joshua Greer, Tremaine Williams, Devin Haney, David Benavidez, Demetrius Andrade, Deontay Wilder, Erickson Lubin, Errol Spence, Jamal Charlo, and Montana 2 Pretty Love. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about my list of fighters Eddie Hearn should sign. Do you agree, disagree? Are there any fighters that I've left out that you'd like to see Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing sign? Let me know in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. Like I say in every video, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.